Brenda J. Lilly here from Creative Consultations. I just wanted to put out a small disclaimer before we launch into today's video that says I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm just here to engage, to encourage, and hopefully empower other artists to go out and live their art dream. So here we go. Enjoy the video. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. Brenda J. Lilly here with Creative Consultations. It is Monday morning, September 23rd, so it's time for another Monday morning Kickstart. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoy this video. If you do, like it, subscribe, and share it with everyone you know so we can encourage and engage and empower each other to go and live our art dream. I'll see you on the flip side. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. I have my big blue cup of coffee and I'm ready to rock and roll. I hope you are too. Today, I want to talk about what is creativity. Now, this is a question I was actually asked about a week ago, and I wasn't asked this question by a child. It was a young adult, like 20 years old. What is creativity anyway? I don't understand. So I asked him, do you not understand how a person is creative or just the idea of being creative? Or are you just looking for a good working definition of creativity? And he said yes to all of it. So I started with the definition, the use of imagination. Right? Creativity is using your imagination, using your ideas in an original way, or using an original or having an original idea to create something new. This guy looked at me like I had just opened up a world to him that he was a little skeptical about, but really interested in. So I asked him, are you creative? And he said, no, I'm not an artist. And I said, I didn't ask if you were an artist. I asked if you were creative according to the definition I just gave you. Do you use or access your imagination? And he said, well, yeah, I do. And that's when I knew we were getting somewhere, right? It was a great conversation. I'm going to say this, I don't know how many times in this video. It was a fantastic conversation. So we talked about how I believe that every single person is creative in some way, shape, or form. And that I love doing theater because it's not just about the actors on the stage. It takes directors, choreographers, managers, schedulers, producers, designers, people who build the website and create content, builders, accountants, money people, booking agents, box office people, chefs, teachers. Seriously, anyone can work in a theater. It's not just the artists. It is people who generally love art, love supporting theater and a theatrical endeavor, using the skills, talents, and abilities they have to make it move forward in an effective and hopefully productive way. They help make it all happen. You know, every business, I really think every business should be this way, should function this way, wherever we work, that we would use our creative energy to make the place of business that we work at, run smoothly. It's 11 o'clock, everybody. Our creative energy might be scheduling or budgeting or finance, but that doesn't make it not creative. He was thinking about it, and because it was mind opening for him that things that he didn't think of as creative were creative. It was an amazing conversation. So I asked him again at this point, do you think of yourself as creative? And he said, well, I guess so. And he said, then he said, I love taking photos. So again, he was still attributing it to creativity to art in some way, shape, or form, right? He was still attached to that idea, but he loved creating photos. Okay. And I said, and you like filming and editing and using technology. I said, you're using your creative energy to do all of that. He said, oh, yeah, I guess I am. But it was the first time that he had ever looked at anything he did as creative work. Because, see, he uses technology every single day, but he was looking at technology as technical, therefore, it wasn't creative. And I said, but someone had to create it, right? And they created this technology so you could create something with it, right? How is that not creative? And it was like a light went off in a very, I mean, a light went on in a very dark room, right? It was, again, an amazing conversation. And it was wonderful to watch him think through this process for himself. I had just watched him film an entire service at my church and take photos. So I said, will you take a photo of something? How do you know if it's a good photo or a powerful photo? What makes you know that about it? And he said, well, it makes me I like it. I don't know. I just like it. And I said, it makes you feel something. Again, another light bulb went off. And he said, yeah. I said, that's what art and the creative process is all about. Photos, performance pieces, books, stories, movies, TV shows, dance pieces, sculpture. It's all about sharing the human experience with our audience, making them feel something, taking them on a journey, right? I said, if creativity is using our imagination to create something new, then an accountant creating a new system or platform for their company so that their company will function more effectively and dynamically in their market, well, that process is just as creative a process as me writing a new play or you filming and editing a service or taking a powerful photo. Aha. This was the first time that this young man had ever spoken to me, other than to say hello or goodbye, right? It was such a powerful conversation because I realized I didn't know why the conversation was happening. It just started. And I realized it was breaking down walls in his mind that he had put up or someone had put up, boundaries between what is creative and what isn't, right? Who can be creative and who isn't. I was so excited and thrilled to share this moment of encouragement with this young man. And I realized that in this conversation and in so many other conversations that I had this week and this month in is what we struggle with is this idea of limiting beliefs that we have. The story that we tell ourselves of why we can't or couldn't possibly do something. I can't do that. I'm too young. I'm too old. I'm not strong enough. I'm not creative enough. No one would be interested in that. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not interesting. Nobody would be interested in that. I'm not smart enough. I'm being selfish. I can't ask people to do that with me or for me. I'm too broken. No one would be interested in that. Why would anybody want something that I have to offer? There are so many stories we tell ourselves, folks, and most of them are really good pieces of fiction. They're not real. They're not true. They're a good story, but they're not true. And when we read them and believe them, we stay stuck right where we are. We're choosing to believe a lie that we created rather than trust the miracle of imaginative creativity that is inside each and every one of us. So, where do most of these limiting beliefs or stories come from? Well, they either come from our own fear or the fear that has been placed inside of us by some really well meaning, loving people in our lives. Parents, people around you who tell you, oh, you can't make a living doing that. It's a nice hobby, though. They don't mean to crush your dreams, but their fear of what they don't understand, if we take it to heart, they become a limiting belief to us. We limit ourselves. We edit ourselves. We imagine we can't do what we were created to do. People who love us don't want to see us get hurt. That's just a truth. Our parents don't want to see us get hurt. Our spouses, our brothers, our sisters, they don't want to see us get hurt. Our aunts, our uncles, our friends, they want to protect us. And that's lovely. But sometimes that protection can hem us in and put us in a box of someone else's creation, someone else's choosing. It wouldn't have been what we would have chosen for ourselves. Ever. And once we're there, in that box, hemmed in, and we see how happy it makes them, we feel bad about not wanting to be there or wanting to change our lives. It takes a lot of strength then to say no to people you love. And thank you, but I'm going to go my own way. I'm going to build my own life. I wasn't created for this box. I don't like boxes. I remember when I was 22 years old, I was living out in LA, and I had just finished months on a show out in Hollywood, and I had some downtime between gigs. And my uncle called me out of the blue. My uncle Dick called me. I think it was probably one of three conversations on the phone I ever had with the man. Out of the blue from New England. See, my mom had told him that I was on unemployment. I was unemployed, and she was worried. I was in LA, too far away for her to help me. She didn't know what to do, so she turned to her older brother, and he called me. I was looking at my moment of unemployment as a vacation between gigs. I had worked 20 hours a day for 6 days a week for months on end. I deserved a few weeks off. That's how I was looking at it. But they were freaking out about my life choices, thinking I was coming to ruin. Like they spiraled, their thought process spiraled out of this creative, imaginative control. And he told me, stop, no, stop. He told me I needed to move back to New England and come work for the post office. He would get me in because he was a postal worker. He would get me in at the post office in town. And I might not be happy. He actually said these words to me. I might not be happy, but I would have a great pension at the end of it. Oh my goodness, y'all. I listened. I did not laugh at the man. he was being deadly serious. But I told him, thank you for wanting to help me. You see, at that point in my life, even at 22, I understood that he didn't understand who I was and what I was created for, and how my brain functioned, and the life that I wanted for myself. He didn't understand it. And that was okay. So I thanked him for wanting to help me. I thanked him for going before me with the post office. I mean, that was a huge offer of him, saying he would get work for me, he would help me find work. But I let them know I was okay. I was really okay. This was just the way my industry worked. I had another gig lined up at the end of the month and I was going to be fine. And he and my mom, woo, child, they were so unhappy that I said no to that. They really thought I was crazy and that I was going to fail miserably. And I don't know, that they were going to have to come out and collect me, pour me into a cup, and drive me back home. I really don't know what their story was that they were telling themselves. But whatever it was like a Stephen King thriller. Um, and that wasn't what I was living at all. But I couldn't imagine my life working at a job that I hated. Also, that I could have a nice pension. Like I was 22, talking to a 22-year-old about pension. Most of them are not interested, or even thinking that far in advance. And if they are, kudos to you. But I was not. And I couldn't imagine working at a job that I hated. I just couldn't. Not for that reason. If there was actual purpose behind it other than having a nice pension, I might have thought about it. But there was no purpose there for me. That was not who I was. In fact, it was the story of the fear of not enough that was told time and again, time and time and time and again, to my mom and all of her siblings. The story of the fear of not enough. And that story was told through my family for since time immemorial, I think. And now they were trying to read it to me as if it was Bible truth, you know? And I chose to close the book. I chose to reject the story. And I chose to live a different way. And yes, I still struggle with that story from time to time in the life I live. Financial insecurity is a real thing, leading to a life of horror and misery. Not necessarily. That part of the story I disengage with. But then I look at my life and I realize I'm honestly living my art dream. Sure, there are improvements that I need to make that can always be made. And I'm always going to want to grow and change and learn something new, allowing change to come and progress to happen. In my opinion, that's a life well lived, a good and a great life. So I have a question. What are the limiting beliefs that you might have, that the stories, the fictional stories that have been told either to you or in your family, or have been read over you? I say, take all of those thoughts captive. Examine each and every one, keeping the truth and letting go of the lies, every story, every belief. And make sure the stories that you tell yourself will prosper you on and prosper you forward. to helping you become who you were created to be. Thanks so much for joining me today. I will see you next week. I can't believe it's over. This was a really quick one. Have a great day, y'all. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe. What are you waiting for? All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.